right, so let's get into the 5 most common mistakes when spouses are splitting executive compensation.
Number 1, agreement should state very precisely how those executive compensation assets should be divided. Division can get very messy because most employers do not allow stock options or restricted stock to be transferred to a non-employee spouse, even if it's related to divorce. So what do you do when you cannot divide up these assets like you can do with a brokerage or savings account? The first thing, as I said before, please always ask for the summary plan description before MSA or marital settlement agreement is prepared. It's so imperative that your lawyer includes a certain very specific language in drafting the settlement agreement to protect you and ensure that you have received a fair share of options and restricted stock. So the first mistake that I see quite often in the marital settlement agreement says that the spouses will receive 50-50 or 60-40, whatever it is percent of the equity compensation. It's not possible. It's not, in most cases, it's not possible to divide like this. So that certain language should be part of the agreement that says how it should be done and spell out every little detail. So there is no room left for any mistake or gray areas.
With that being said, wouldn't it be great if it was required, not required, but if everyone really knew that you don't just need a lawyer to review your agreement for the legal language to protect yourself, but if you're working with a financial planner, it would be really important for you to have them review your agreement before you sign it, to make sure that language is properly written as it relates to your estate or your plan that you're dealing with, because they are the ones who are going to help you transfer that money. And if the language isn't in there, guess where you're going? You're going back to court, you're going for an amendment, and it'll be very costly.
I absolutely agree. And not only that, I also would add to that, the financial planner that you work with should be well versed in equity compensation and understand how it works. Because if they're even reading and they don't understand how it works, they might not be able to provide you that in-depth advice or analysis that you should really get.
Actually, to that point, and we have a case scenario that we can even talk about, is that goes for your CPA as well. If they do not know how to record or handle this as the taxation goes, you could be double taxed without even knowing it.
Yeah.
We had that come across when we were collecting tax returns and agreements, and it didn't add up. And going backwards, it was because the accountant didn't really record it properly. So a new accountant who was well versed in that field had to do an amendment to this return, which was $60,000+, I think, a difference. It's a lot.
And so I think people can easily fall into this space because I see this a lot where the spouse says, I'm going to take care of you. You're going to be fine. This is how things go missing, or the asset never gets transferred because while you may have thought you're getting half of it, it never got into the agreement. Or if it did get into the agreement, there was never an implementation of the transfer. So while a spouse may say, I'm going to take care of you, you're going to be okay. And even if your attorney says this, I see this so often, the attorney says, you're going to be fine. What are you worried about? It's still important that you understand, first of all, what you have, and then that what the agreement should be saying to protect you. You may not know the exact language, but you certainly can know that there should be language in there to protect you. And be all over that with your financial advisors.
And it's so true what you said, Karen, because I always say that you don't know what you don't know. But hopefully what we will do with this podcast is at least open your eyes to, there is something I might not know. Who do I go and ask, or how do I learn about it? So at least there's that ask, where before you would just go through this and not even pay attention.